Did you know that you can see Dubai's man-made islands from space? Are they shaped like palm trees? Doesn't that sound amazing? In fact, there's another island which is shaped like the map of the Earth. The plan laid out for Dubai's man-made islands was so fascinating that it would have been impossible to imagine that those islands would still be empty in 2021. So what are these man-made islands and why are they still empty? Sit back and relax, because we've got this covered for you. In this video, we'll talk about the seemingly mesmerizing artificial islands and the reason they are still deserted. Before we begin though, please consider subscribing to our channel for more content like this in the future. Let's begin the video. In the early 2000s, the real estate market in Dubai was booming. This all brought with it a huge demand for ocean properties. During that time, real estate investors developed a plan to set up some land along the coast of Dubai. Dubai had already expanded as much as it could along its coast, and the huge demand for real estate, along with its increasing prices, made this look like a very sensible investing option. It was the year 2003 when the construction of the world began. This was essentially an artificial island shaped in such a way that it would appear like the planet Earth itself from the top. During these days, a real estate company by the name of Nakheel made some really interesting plans. Mind you, this company was essentially owned and run by the government of Dubai itself. The plan was to change the region by constructing islands across the coast of Dubai, and all this was supposed to happen within 2 decades. 3 different island projects were initiated to look like palm trees when looking from space. It has to be said that the concept was quite fascinating. The names of the 3 islands were Palm Jebel Ali, Palm Jumeirah and Palm Deira, which was by far the largest one of all. In addition to these, the world was also announced just to the west of Palm Deira. Areas such as low-density housing, high-density complexes and commercial islands were part of the plans. Sure, it was an unconventional idea even in the early 2000s, but few believed that a project like this would result in anything but success. They also went ahead and decided to add another project to the existing ones called the Universe. As you can see, the universe was supposed to be built around the Earth. It had areas representing the Milky Way, other planets, as well as the Sun and the Moon. On the surface, this may appear like just any other land, but look at it from a plane and you could see everything as clear as crystal. 3 palm trees, Earth surrounded by a universe. Soon, Nakheel, the real estate developer behind these plans, decided to add another project to this list: Dubai Waterfalls. Dubai Waterfalls were to be built to the west of Palm Jebel Ali and were shaped like a crescent and a star. The crescent and the star not only looked magnificent, but it is a symbol in Islam. It also had a strategic advantage in the sense that the crescent land was supposed to protect the internal land from erosion. It seemed as if they had already thought of everything. Remember that during these days, Dubai's economy was flourishing. This is not to say that it is worse off right now, but the early 2000s was one of the peaks the city faced in terms of an economic boom. These projects were also seen in a way that would eventually further increase the economic worth of the area. The fact that real estate was one of the most profitable industries increased the investors' confidence. The government also had the oil money coming in quite fast, so arranging capital was not that big of a deal. However, if any of them knew what the future held for them, these projects would have probably shut down as fast as they had started. Of course, most of Dubai's income was also coming in from oil alone, so it made a lot of sense to diversify their means of income. Let's see what happened that made them regret their decision. In 2001, the Nakheel company started working on the Palm Jumeirah. This project alone would have more than doubled the coast size of Dubai, which can allow you to get a perspective on the project's magnitude. By 2006, the land reclamation was completed and the first residences were handed over as well. The strands of this palm were essentially the part of the island which would make up private housing. The area on the outside that completely covers this part of the island was supposed to be made up of luxury hotels. This not only aimed to segregate the 2 aspects, but the border of this island also aimed to protect the private housing from storms and floods. It was to become an area that would be safe no matter what happened on the ocean. While this construction was going on, the other projects took some shape as well, and some rapid development was seen. This brought with it a boom in the real estate market so high that we saw projects like the Burj Khalifa started and completed during this tenure. The islands were always meant to surpass the importance of Burj Khalifa. Anyway, a couple of years passed, and by the time the major chunk of the construction on these lands was completed, something terrible happened. That's right, the financial crisis of 2008. Mind you that during September 2008, the Atlantis Hotel opened up in Palm Jumeirah, and they celebrated this achievement with a huge show of fireworks across the entire island. The fireworks and the celebrations alone ended up costing $20 million alone. The international media was surprised at the extravagant display of wealth when the world had already entered a financial crisis. The thing is that Dubai only began to see the onset of the crisis after these days. This crisis was caused by rising energy prices on global markets, which led to a rise in the rate of global inflation. This squeezed borrowers, many of whom struggled to repay mortgages. The property prices started to drop, leading to a collapse in the values of the assets held by many financial institutions. This also meant that the newly created land in these islands was not nearly worth as much as was initially anticipated. In fact, it was falling further every single day. When the crisis hit Dubai, construction centres began to close and real estate prices dropped really fast. By 2011, the construction of Jebel Ali had to be put on hold. To this date, it is still at the same place. The area now presents a sad picture. The island is completely deserted, with no city nearby to even indicate a possible construction in the future. Another problem that was observed was an environmental one. The islands were constructed by taking sand from the coast of Dubai. It was argued that this action would eventually lead to the erosion of the land along the coast. The mass dumping of sand on the sea was also going to cause a lot of damage to the marine ecosystem and put hundreds of thousands of marine lives at risk. As the world progressed through the late 2010s, it became increasingly difficult to market projects that were essentially harming the environment. To make it worse, the island area constructed around the main island to prevent it from floods and erosion also went terribly wrong. Enclosing all that precious artificial land also meant that the supply of fresh water was completely blocked. Any person living in that private housing society on the man-made island would have access to only saline and old water that had no chances of getting fresh. It was a massive tactical failure. To make things worse, the concern about the miserable conditions of the construction workers was also highlighted over the last decade. These islands were also built on the backs of thousands of immigrant workers who were paid cents on the dollar. This did not sit well with many possible investors. The combination of the financial crisis, tactical failures, decrease in demand for real estate made conditions awful. Eventually, abandonment of the plans meant that today, these islands sit completely deserted, reflecting a bleak picture. That's all from this video. We hoped you liked the content, and if you did, please consider subscribing to our channel. Also, hit the like and share button. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.